Well, the moment is finally here. Today is Thursday, and you know what that means. It is the opener for the 2019 NFL season. We finally made it, folks. Finally. Hello and welcome to Tossin the Pigskin. I'm your host, Nate Smith. Now, the past few episodes have been divisional previews, which honestly have been a little boring. Also, I would like to apologize for the lighting in my last video and just the background in general. We made a slight change. We do have a blank wall here. Not the best, but it's better than the last one. So, we're stepping up in the world. Also, I'm trying to make it a point to make these videos shorter, more concise, and there will be some graphics added to this. So, it's a work in progress, but we're moving in the right direction. So let's get to it. As promised, I have 5 gambling picks for you this NFL week, week 1. We'll start it off with pick number 1 between the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears. Why wait till Sunday? Let's get in on this action Thursday night. I'm not waiting. Are you? The pick is over 46.5. That's the pick. It's the over. Now here's a little explanation. Green Bay is visiting Chicago. I don't care how good this Bears defense is. Give me the over. Rodgers is angry. The Packers have a new head coach, a whole new offense. Gone are the days of Mike McCarthy. Here are the days of Matt LaFleur. Coming in from Tennessee, I think he's going to reinvigorate this offense. I'm looking for a little Green Bay magic. Rodgers is going to get his swagger back. There's going to be some stats out there that tell you not to take the over, and that maybe think the Bears will win the game. The Bears might win the game. I don't know what's going to happen in the game. I'm just betting the total. The over, 46.5. There will be points scored in this one. I think we're getting over 50, to be honest with you. And I think the Packers are getting around that 30 mark. Look, the Packers come back in a big way after some tough recent games with the Chicago Bears. Take the over. Pick number 2. Atlanta Falcons on the road against the Minnesota Vikings. The Falcons are plus 3.5, and that's the pick. We're going to take that to the bank. This pick is honestly a little too easy, so I'm not going to spend much time on it. The Falcons are going to win this game straight up, as a matter of fact. I know this Vikings defense is pretty good. I know that. I don't care. I think this Falcons offense will be the best offense in football this season. Yep, better than the Chiefs. I think they will be. Julio, Mohamed Sanu, Austin Hooper, Matt Ryan, Devontae Freeman, Calvin Ridley. You can't stop them all. I like the Falcons, plus 3.5. Now, we have the Baltimore Ravens going up against the Miami Dolphins. I like the Ravens here. At my book, I took this pick about a week ago, and I got them at -5. And to be honest, I don't like this pick. I love it. The Ravens are going to win this football game by at least double digits. The Ravens are well coached. Lamar Jackson is now in his second year. And this defensive secondary is loaded for Baltimore. Getting Earl Thomas in the offseason. For Miami, their quarterback for week 1 will be Ryan Fitzpatrick. Behind this disastrous offensive line, who, oh, by the way, just traded one of the best young offensive tackles in the game in Laramie Tunsil. He's gone. Yikes. This game could get ugly. I like the Ravens here. -5. Lock it in. At some places, you might see -7, depending on your book. Doesn't matter. Take the Ravens. Take the points. They're winning. Pick number 4. Detroit Lions are visiting the Arizona Cardinals. And you can find the Detroit Lions at some books for -2.5. I will take that. Give me the Lions -2.5. Basically, what this comes down to for me is I believe this Lions defensive line will manhandle this Cardinals offensive line. It was already a talented offensive line, and they brought in Mike Daniels in the offseason, who is a very quality interior defensive line player. Matt Patricia now in his second year with Detroit. I think things will go a lot smoother for them just all around. I'm a Matt Stafford believer. I know some people hate on the man. I think he's a good quarterback. I like this Lions defense. And on the other side of the coin, you have Kyler Murray and you have Cliff Kingsbury, the new head coach for Arizona. Both guys, this will be their first real NFL game. I think it could be a little rough for Arizona the whole year, and especially in this game. I think this is just too good of a price for the Lions. I think Kyler is a little overwhelmed by this defense, and I think the Lions make life on him a little bit uncomfortable. I like the Lions here by at least a field goal. And that brings us to pick number 5, or cinco, as they say in Espanol. Houston Texans, part of this Monday night doubleheader, going to New Orleans in the Dome. Should be a great game, honestly. I'm expecting a close scoring contest throughout. And for that reason, this leads me to Houston Texans +7, folks. As I mentioned, I believe this game will be back and forth. I believe there will be a lot of points scored in this game. I don't know what the over is. I assume it's in the 50s. But the over might be a good pick too. But the pick here is Texans +7. I believe the Texans have a legitimate chance to straight up win this game. But if not, I think they can keep it within a touchdown. They recently added Laramie Tunsil to their offensive line, which was a little bit troublesome last year. So that'll help solidify that for them. And also, this New Orleans defense doesn't really scare me too much. And this Texans offense, I think, might take a next step this year and really become something lethal. Deshaun Watson will probably have a great year, as I expect him to. Now, matchup-wise, DeAndre Hopkins will be probably matched up with Marshawn Lattimore for a majority of this game, depending on if they shadow him or not. I'm not sure. But this is a nice segue into my other segment, Fantasy Time, where we go with the stardom. As I mentioned, Marshawn Lattimore will probably be following DeAndre Hopkins or guarding him for most of the game. That's what I would assume. Which means somebody's got to catch these passes from Deshaun Watson. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Nuke will still have a great game. But this opens the door for the number 2 option for the Houston Texans, Will Fuller. I think Fuller has a nice game here. New Orleans' other corner is Eli Apple. He's not great. I think Fuller will get open and put up some fantasy points. My other stardom is Christian Kirk of the Arizona Cardinals for the Lions. He's now in his second year with the Cardinals, but really it's his first year with this new offense, with Kingsbury and Kyler Murray coming in, as I mentioned previously. The number 1 wide receiver on paper for the Cardinals is Larry Fitzgerald, but he's 47 years old, so it might be hard for him to maintain a full number 1 workload this season. Kirk was on the field for 85% of Arizona's pass plays last year, and I believe that number will continue to climb. I don't know if it'll be at 100, but I think it'll be around that same mark, if not a little higher. I think Kirk gets open. I think this is a quick-hitting, fast-tempo offense, and I think Kirk will be a big beneficiary. Move to the sit-em segment. My sit-em number 1 for this week is Marlon Mack of the Indianapolis Colts. They are visiting the Los Angeles Chargers. Basically, this boils down to the fact that the Colts, I think, are going to be one-dimensional in this game. It's just tough to imagine Jacoby Brissett coming in here and slinging the rock all over a quality Chargers defense. So, because of this, Marlon Mack becomes a casualty here. I'd stay away from him this week. My second sit-em, I'm going to take some flack for this, and I understand why. I could be completely wrong, but what's the fun of being a cookie cutter? Baker Mayfield versus Tennessee. Sit 'em, folks. This Tennessee defense is pretty good. Jarrell Casey is the anchor of this D-line, and this secondary is impressive, headlined by all-pro safety Kevin Byard. I understand the hype about Odell and Jarvis and this new-look Browns offense and all the hype that's surrounding them, but Tennessee is not a bad football team. Mike Vrabel will have these boys ready to go. I think this defense might give Baker some problems. I'd sit him this week. Now for our final segment, we have sleepers. Mark Ingram is my sleeper number 1. The Ravens take on the Dolphins, as previously mentioned with my Ravens pick, -5. Lock that in. Ingram, over the last 6 seasons, is tied for first in carries inside the opponent's 5-yard line. I fully believe that the Ravens will be able to ground and pound the ball all game long. They'll be able to control the clock and move the ball at will. That being said, once they get in the 5, as the stat indicates, our boy Mark Ingram will be getting in the end zone. I expect a nice day from Ingram here against a poor Dolphins defense. And our last sleeper of the night is going to be Austin Hooper, the tight end for the Atlanta Falcons as they take on the Vikings. The Vikings have a quality defense, but as I mentioned earlier, I believe this Falcons offense is or will be the best in football this season. If you manage to somehow cover some of their wide receivers, Austin Hooper should be a main beneficiary. He was 6th place in fantasy points among tight ends last year, and he ranked top 5 at the position in routes and receptions. I expect big things from Austin Hooper this week against Minnesota. And that about does it for week 1, the first regular season episode. Man, this feels good to record. I am so pumped for this season. I really hope things start off well with a over-hitting on this Chicago-Green Bay game here on Thursday night. I'm excited. NFL's finally back. It's been gone too long. Hopefully my picks do well. Hopefully the fantasy predictions do well. But if not, I'll be back next week either way. I'm Nate Smith, and this is Tossin the Pigskin.